start streaming it, and I'll get the tweet out.
So I'd asked CJ to be on, but he said the person who normally does a lot of the social media duties that he does for Fox is on vacation, so he couldn't spare the time.
Gotcha. Bummer. It's all good. We will have some fun. Let me share out the link on Twitter.
Well, I got some interesting feedback from a new contributor and person that I've been interacting with quite a bit, especially via text. Said, you know what? It's a different show when it's just the two of you. And I'm like, yeah, because we've known each other for 20 years.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody to impress.
Right.
We could just be us.
Was it like good, bad, or indifferent?
No, she said it was great. She's like, I love it when it's just y'all. It's awesome.
Cool.
I was like, honestly, the strange thing is, typically when we go by ourselves, we see more downloads. I don't know if that's correlation without causation or just how the cookie crumbles. But not necessarily the case this past week, but it has been in the past a lot.
Yeah, interesting.
So are we live on the tube?
We should be. It says
all
excellent
right.
Condition.
Go ahead and yank that thing up and get her on mute.
Make sure I'm on the right.
There she blows.
Yep, I am. Okay. Excellent
there we go.
connection.
Got her on the old muter.
That lasts. Good to go there.
Let's see. All right.
So, seriously, this was funny. I wasn't going to tell this on the show, so we'll do the pre-show with it. So you had, or I had brought up my email. I had copied the Zoom link, and then I brought up email. I went to the email, that long email chain that we have.
Mm-hmm.
I hit respond, and as I was pasting it in, it said, new message from Andrew Sherwin. And so I clicked the, show message, and it says, hey, you going to send me that link? And out loud, I was like, dude, I'm doing it now. I wasn't mad at you. It was just like, that's what I'm doing. Come on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how it'll do sometimes.
So you just get fired up at technology about that.
Well, I was, normally I pull it out of the Twitter. So I was like, well, we don't have a guest this week. So is he going to remember to send me the link?
Yeah. I just booted up Zoom. Since we didn't have a guest, I was just like, I'll just boot it up close to game time and send the link. And so, yeah, we were within seconds of each other emailing, and it was funny. Just my response. I said that, and then I just started laughing at the whole situation. I was like, dude, I'm sending it now. And then I was just like, yeah, that's
a-hole.
Yeah, not blaming you, but blaming like email and technology. That was the whole thing. The dude in this situation was the computer, was Google or whatever. Like, dude, I'm doing it
now. That's funny.
Well, don't know that we have many folks joining us tonight. Maybe folks are chilling out.
I saw a couple people say that they would be tuning in, but I don't know that necessarily means more than just the couple of people who said they were going to tune in.
Well, all good.
We can let them trickle. There's Raj.
Raja. He's here with the new glasses, he says.
Yeah, he got some new frames he's sporting.
Nice, Raj. Raja.
Raji.
All right, let me see if that buzzing is coming from this.
I did pick up an echo a few minutes ago, but it didn't persist.
Gotcha.
So I don't know what that was, but it was your voice.
Trying to see which one of these wires.
One of them damn wires.
Them there wires.
Let's see. Get her. Well, if I do this, let's get the top of my head. That doesn't mean that The YouTube can't. We'll see. Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, well, sorry, Wheeler Walker. You get your glamour now. I'm going to tilt the laptop back up just a little bit.
Might be internet connection. Cool. Well, let's
so
see.
I got to get all packed up tomorrow.
That's right. You're going down to New Orleans?
For some New Orleans.
New Orleans. Where you
So
staying?
for anybody that's been around for a long, long time, Roger, you might be one of those. I'm going to visit Juliet Miranda
Booyah.
from the Morning Neurosis podcast. Her and her husband are going to host me for the weekend. They got a slate of activities planned that
awesome.
involve jazz music and bourbon cocktails and Cajun food.
Well, sounds like you're just going to have a drag.
Yeah, it's going to suck.
Yeah. Well, sir, you ready to do a podcast?
Why not?
All right. Well, here goes nothing. I am ready to go. Here we go. We're recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is a Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 284. Today is Tuesday, April 6, 2021. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace in the PTM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. This podcast is sponsored by you. That's right. You go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie. Get some stickers. Best part is, every cent this year, we're once again donating to sponsored drivers. Join the PTM Posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. This week's show brought to you by official sponsors at that $5 and up per month level. Aaron Bearden, Robert Kevlin, Colin, Clammer, Kevin, Ryan, Keeper, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brennan Carl, Kevin McDonald, Brandon Carl, Rika Porter, Julie Bosley, Eddie Grid, 30 from Motorsports, David Mullins, Patrick Johnson, Brett Morris, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosato, Chad Knapp, Stacey Coleman, Lisa Chinana, Rick Houston, Sarah Anbari, Evan Roller, Matthew Bishop, Harry Bolzania, AJ Evangelista, Janet Scott, Les Miller, and Chubby Bob. Woo! That away. Well, a couple little missteps there, but still made it around.
I think you might have said Brandon Carl twice.
I think I said Brandon Crowd, and I always say it weird because it comes right after Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd. It's kind of like one of those tongue twisters.
I could have misheard you.
You know? So that's what I'm blaming it on. Anyway, PTM North Carolina studio, pregame engineer Andrew Sherwin. What's up, dude?
Woo! All right.
Happy April.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah. So coming off the no agenda weekend. So no agenda week for us. Hope y'all tune in, have some fun, hang out with us. Man, Sherwin, what are you drinking tonight? Because it's I need to get into some drinking.
You know what? So, I got the staple, of course. Mm-hmm. Why not, right? Ironically, been accused of not being an adventurous beer drinker, which you know better than that. But, of course, we got the Irefall.
There you go. So there is a dearth of mixers in the Rusty household, and I did not know that. So I took some of the Jim Beam, and I put it in a glass with, those squirt bottles of like Mio, but you get like the Kroger brand. So I put some of that in there with some water, and it's kind of like, I don't know, gin and juice, but it's more like Jim and juice. So I don't know. It's okay.
Well, you get your electrolytes and your ethanol.
That's right. Oh, and on deck, since we talked about it, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? We talked about Dos Equis, right? I think you had Dos Equis or...
Oh, yeah. I got one left in the fridge.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking about, I don't know the last time I've had a Dos Equis lager. So, of course, I have Dos Equis lager today.
Nice. Good shove.
Yeah, let's see. That's pretty good. It's pretty sweet. I didn't realize.
It's crispy.
Yeah,
it's sweet and crispy.
It kind of tastes like Moosehead, which I haven't had in forever, and which we need to go ahead and grab some.
Yeah,
I'd
drink Moosehead any day.
I'm pretty sure, no matter how much beer I drink the rest of my life, there's stories around this. We can tell them one day, but I don't know if I will ever catch up to the amount of Moosehead that I've drank in my entire life. So we're just gonna leave it at that for now. But there were reasons.
Do we not share at this point? I mean, we're already teased everybody.
Yeah. Why not? So back in college, we built a Christmas tree out of beer bottles, and it was our mission to, our little corner of the fraternity house. We were like, we're gonna drink more than anybody else, because that's a great idea when you're in college. And we did. That's really the long and short of it. We used Moosehead because it was a green bottle, and the guy at the local liquor store got us a giant discount for ordering by the 18-wheeler full. So we did that.
Right. And so for those keeping score at home, what building a Christmas tree out of beer bottles means to a bunch of engineers from Georgia Tech means 3,000 bottles of beer.
Right.
Took over 3K. 13 feet tall.
Yeah. We're not talking about your little side of the corner of Christmas tree.
Take 7 cases of liquid nails to glue it all together.
You remember somebody did their senior thesis on how much weight it could hold, and we did. I think it was 13 stories or 13 levels tall, and he was like, oh yeah, we're good by mechanical engineering up to 18 or something crazy.
It was Brian Burns, and it was 22 that he did a compression test on the Molson bottle.
Okay.
When it was still the Molson tree, and it said the bottom layer would hold 22 layers.
Impressive. Well, we never got up to there because obviously it compounds. It's not exponential, but it's not linear. So I don't know, opposite of logarithmic. Well, that's exponential. So I don't know. We'll call it exponential growth by the more layers you add. So yeah, pretty well.
Not real easy to dispose of, as it turns out.
Right. So, sir, it's been a heck of a day for both of us. I was telling Sherwin as we got on, I had pressed a button at 8:26 p.m. this evening, and when I pressed it, I didn't plan it this way, but it came up and said, this process will finish in 34 minutes. 8:26 p.m. plus 34 minutes is PETM podcast time. And I was like, sweet, I will be on the show. Up until that point, I wasn't sure. 1 minute later, or, one more bug or something, and it would have messed up. Sherwin?
Yeah, well, I got a call at 6:05, and I was about to hit I-77, and my boss was like, yeah, I'm going to need you to come on back in here because we're about to fire up the line. And I was like, okay, I'll turn around. And the whole way back, I'm just, in my mind, just going, I'm leaving at 8, I'm leaving at 8, I'm leaving at 8.
Right.
I ended up leaving about, I don't know, 7:30.
Well done, sir. So I'll tell you what kind of day it was. By the end of it, here's what happened. In computer science and in computing, we measure things in milliseconds, even if because it'll be like, it took 7 milliseconds, 10 milliseconds. And even once it crosses some of those borders where you could put them in fractions of seconds, we'll still say 800 milliseconds, just so that they're all on the same time scale, right? Even if it's a ton, we might still say 38,000 milliseconds, which is exactly what happened today and where my story begins, is a guy had chatted me on our team chat, so lots of people on this team chat. It was probably about 8:15 p.m., and he goes, it should have finished in about 38,000 milliseconds. And I looked, and I typed back, and I was just trying to type quick, and so and it took 24,000 milliseconds, but instead of 24,000 milliseconds, I wrote 24K, and then I put MS. And everybody understood it, and I was the first to make fun of myself. I said, did I just really say 24 kilo milliseconds? I could have just wrote 24 instead of 24K MS. So it was that kind of day. So I had a 13 kilo milli-hour day. And ready to be done with that one.
Well, so for all the nerds out there, and I'm sure there's some electrician that'll hear this and will probably want to correct me to some degree or another, but we had a power blip over the weekend, which is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we have 3-phase power that comes into our machines. We're running 245-volt 3-phase. If any of those 3 phases blips for more than about 5 milliseconds, boom, line down.
Mm.
So that's always fun.
Well,
Expensive is what the right word is. Expensive.
how you enjoying the new phone? It's week number 2, I guess, ending of week 1 of having the phone.
Well, we survived last week's event. We're doing just fine. I still don't have the thing that lets you put earbuds in it, but I've been using my other phone as like an iPod.
Uh-huh.
So that's been working just fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like it. I'm totally versed now in the whole no home button thingy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I pick up the old phone, I'm like, oh yeah, I have to mash this button.
Right. I'm doing the same thing. I've got the phone as just a iPod thing, and exact same. I pick it up. What's stupid now is because I got the face thing. Like I'll pick it up and I'm just staring at my phone, waiting for it to come. I'm like, come on. Oh hell, I got to mash a button. I forgot. Like you just look like an idiot because you're like, come on, phone, what's your problem? And it's like, I don't know what to do, man. I've got a button. Remember? Ah, crap.
Yeah. Well, and me, I spend most of my day with the mask on, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I look at it and it's like wanting me to put my 6 digits in. And I'm like, I'm looking right at you. And it can't tell me, hey, Dodo Bird, you have a mask on.
Right.
I can't see your face.
Right. I tell you this, you got the 5G on yours?
Yes.
Yeah. So I did a speed test on my phone, and it completely smoked my Comcast home internet, and now I'm like self-conscious. Like, what am I paying all this internet money for at home when it doesn't even come to close to what I get on this little device right here? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. Last night I had the unfortunate situation where I took a nap from 8 o'clock to 11:30. So I missed the entire national championship game, which is fine. It didn't sound like it was much of a game anyway. But yeah, so the internet just sort of went out. I don't know if they were messing with something or downloading something. I don't know. It just went out. And I'm like, well, whatever, phone. And like, it doesn't even miss a beat. Like, there's no lull. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It just does.
Yeah. So, yeah. Roger says the second shot's supposed to take care of it. That's right. I got my chip implanted this Friday. I get it activated. And then it'll hook up with my 5G phone and Bill Gates and everything else. So looking forward to that ordeal.
That's right. I'm 2 Tuesdays away from getting chipped like I'm a dog. It's fine with me. I don't give a damn.
Did you do
It'll be time to get on an airplane and go to a racetrack's what it'll be.
That's what it really is. That's counting down the days to being able to do something again. My wife, she is 1 week behind me in the shot schedule. So she has booked us a reservation at a fancy restaurant. She's like, I selected eat inside too. We hadn't eaten inside a restaurant in over a year now. And so she's like, I pressed inside on the reservation for 2 weeks after she's done with her stuff. So, yeah.
Well, hell yeah. I'm still kind of lamenting in a lot of ways that I picked this weekend to go to New Orleans because I'm so close to Martinsville.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
You know, and Evan Roller's like, hey, man, I got this bumper pull and you ain't going to be around. And I'm like, we're going to use it, dude. Just, you remember, he was the one that sent that funny rundown from last week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that was hilarious, Evan. And he's sitting there giving us hell saying, Rusty, you road trip ready or what? Woo, let's go. Like, here's the deal, y'all, is I'm laying low for the next 3 weeks because there's light at the end of this tunnel. Now I'm not going to go be stupid and get myself to the point where I'm exposing other people to anything. But old Rusty's just going to lick all the doorknobs and not even care anymore. So I'm ready to get that.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are once you've made it through the tunnel,
mm-hmm.
and then there's that light at the other end,
mm-hmm.
supposedly or whatever. I mean, licking doorknobs. I mean, I'm gonna eat off the floor. I don't like whatever.
That's what
5-second rule no longer applies.
Yeah, I'll still wear my mask and I'll still, social distance and all that for everybody who hadn't. But when it comes to me, I'm in, baby. So.
Oh yeah, I don't have any issues wearing the mask. I'm so used to it at work. it's like, yeah, you just get on the plane, you got the mask on, you good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to go from Charlotte to Atlanta, then to New Orleans. So actually, I get on the plane at like 8:15. No, that's takeoff. I got to get on the plane at like 7:45.
A.M.?
Yeah.
Ah, you're going to miss that.
Oh, not anymore. Used to, yes. Used to, yes. But now that seems to not be a thing anymore.
Sorry.
I'll just come home and go to bed. I'll pack and go to bed, and I'll wake up at like 2:30, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so I don't actually get there until like 12:15 Central Time.
Huh.
So I don't know if there's enough time to have a drink in the Atlanta airport or not. We'll see.
Huh? Either way. Easter. Did you do anything this weekend?
No. I did. So for the people who like to make fun or don't, whichever, I did get my toenails painted pastel purple.
Well, good job.
So that's me.
Nice.
That's what's going on over here. That's all I did.
You know, I've come to realize that I never thought that I was too much of a stickler for like certain meals and stuff until I just became a stickler for it. And my wife was asking me, she's like, "You want to? I don't know. I don't care. Do you want to cook something?" I'm like, "Well, it's Easter. We got to have some deviled eggs." And I was like, "We got to have some ham, and we might as well make some collards and cornbread to go with it." It's just one of those things. Like, it started with just, well, let's make some eggs. You know, I got to have me some deviled eggs, and then like, well, ham sure would go with that. Some collards might be all right. Well, you got to have cornbread when you got collards, and then eventually I've constructed this entire Easter meal, and I'm like, well, hell, I guess I'll cook it. So I cooked up me an Easter meal. It was good. Still eating on the leftovers.
It just kind of builds, you know. It did you do like a whole ham or like just a steak?
So
like a ham steak.
Dude, this made me laugh harder than I've laughed this year, right? I told my wife, I was like, okay, well, it's just us two. I'll go get one of them ham steaks, and I'll eat on a ham steak every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Love me a ham steak. And if you're not familiar with it, y'all, all it is, you know, you're used to like the spiral cut ham. Well, instead of spiral cutting it, they just put it through a bandsaw and, you know, you cut off a big old thick piece of it. And all you got to do is just fry it up on either side, not like with any oil or anything. You're just heating it is all you're doing. And then it's just a big old slab of ham is all it is. Well, I told the wife, I was like, I'll go get a ham steak. And we've been eating on ham steaks for the past decade, Sherwin, at the Wallace household. And the wife finally goes, she goes, you know what? I hate those ham steaks. Can we get something else? And I just busted out laughing because we've been eating ham steak for the last decade. I'm like, you could have told me. I'd have no affinity to it. It's just one of those, like, it's easy, it's nice, and, you know, fine. So, Sherwin, we had a spiral sliced ham.
That is awesome. we used to do ham for Easter, too. Dad liked to do it on the grill, and he would mix up yellow mustard, brown sugar, and pineapple juice as like a glaze.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. And he always knew that if he got ham, I mean, at some stage of the game, Mom was going to make macaroni and cheese with ham, homemade.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he always had a plan. Like, he had an ulterior motive.
That's that progression we were just talking about. Because Dad's like, I'm going to buy a ham because I know Mom's going to be like, well, you can't have ham without the macaroni and cheese. So, hey, win-win.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect. I love it. Yeah, and we ate outside because the skeeters hadn't come yet, and the weather is not completely, you know, drench you in sweat. So
F-bombed.
yeah. So I had a nice little Easter dinner outside, just me and the wife, because once again, I am laying low for the next 3 weeks.
Well, we got all the pine pollen. Y'all got that in Atlanta yet?
Oh, my God. Can you hear me sniffling and everything? Listen, y'all, I'm not allergic to anything. Okay, I don't have allergies, seasonal allergies, pollen allergies, or anything. But if you hear me sitting here coughing and like, you know, whatever, snorting and hacking up a lung, it's because if you go outside, you're essentially snorting a line. Like, I'm talking about mountains of pollen just walking outside right now. So you can't help but be a little bit stuffed up or something. Again, I'm not allergic. It's just that once you get enough crap up your nose, yeah, you're going to be, sneezing and hacking. So, yes.
Yeah, and one of the things I discovered is, because I never really have been a mouth breather, but the mask causes me to do that a lot. So I get like massive buildup in my nose from breathing out of my mouth when I'm on the floor. And because I can't, we're not allowed to pull our mask down. We can pull it down at our desk as long as we're away from everybody, yada, yada. But my nose fills up with all kinds of nonsense. And it's different. But the pollen so far has not been a problem.
I hear you. Well, the pollening has happened in Atlanta, and y'all, this is the time of year, if you're not in Atlanta or in the general vicinity, you don't go get your car washed for like 2 months right now. All you do is take the hose pipe and hose it down every couple days, because it don't do you no good. It don't do nothing to go get it washed. All it's going to do is now it's wet and it's going to stick all the pollen on it. So,
well, and it's eventually going to rain again, so.
Yep. So might as well. Hence why the, Bristol and Atlanta and et cetera races around this time are always a flip of the coin, and it's a loaded coin.
No doubt.
Yeah. Well, sir, it's been a fun intro. You ready to talk some NASCAR?
Yeah, I'm sure some of these folks are like, well, I thought this was a racing part. I don't understand what is happening here.
Well, here's the racing part. Here we go. Let's tear it down. Sir, let's start with this. Matt Weaver column this week. Now, y'all, we don't have any races to talk about. So Matt Weaver column this week was the AutoWeek.com Our Vision for the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Thought so that there was some interesting stuff in here. Talking about starting with Daytona, going to Vegas, Phoenix, Fontana Half Mile, Sonoma was in there, and then number 7, New Atlanta. And he posted that picture of Atlanta Motor Speedway with like the oval reshaping, the golf complex, the roller coasters, the freaking casino, the whole deal, man. I saw it and I'm like, 2026, that's like 5 years. If we had all that stuff in 5 years from now, holy smokes, Atlanta would be one of the top tickets in the series, wouldn't it?
I would think so, just because, number one, it's probably going to be the first casino in the Atlanta area, and B, it's a cool. It's an amusement park,
That's the whole thing.
with a racetrack.
That's the whole thing.
Attached to it.
Imagine 11 p.m. What are we going to do? Let's go ride the roller coaster. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine how many NASCAR fans are going to be like, I wonder how drunk we're allowed to be, and they still let us on the rides.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man. And hey, it's race weekend. Anything goes. Come on in. Get on our roller coaster. Go upside down. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can walk around and sort of semi-communicate, you can be in a casino drunk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've all seen us do that.
Yeah.
And it's some part of life. So I hope they do it just 'cause.
Right. And they got the golf complex. Imagine that, midnight golf with all your racing buddies. Oh my gosh. I
don't see them being able to change the track back to the original oval, though. Not the way the stands are designed. Unless they're willing to completely rebuild the way the condos and the boxes are shaped.
Yeah.
Because they're built around, the quad oval, and it would be weird if you moved, because the front stretch basically becomes pit road.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the old configuration, for those who don't remember or never saw it, like we never saw it, the front stretch used to be what the back stretch is now. So pit road was on the back stretch of what you see now at Atlanta. And pit road, as we know it today, was the back stretch. So I'm not sure if they're going to be able to get rid of that quad oval thing or not.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, you would eliminate the Thursday Night Thunder, that thing, which I
I've
doubt
got
they want to do that.
my
So,
model of Atlanta Motor Speedway here, but it is 1999. So we're talking about pre-1997. So this was still the quad oval in 99 with the backstretch stands. Rest in peace.
well, and the Elliott Grandstand, rest in peace.
Yeah, and this one, the East stands, whatever they're called, rest in
East
peace.
Turn, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
East Turn, then renamed the Bill Elliott Grandstand.
Question is, should I just start knocking some of these pieces off just to make it accurate?
I don't know. I mean, we told that story, golly, was it last podcast or one before, about going into Weaver and people at the, I think we talked about it with Brent.
Yeah, we did.
It was like, oh yeah, you got like 3 cases of beer, looks good.
Yeah.
They're all cans. Yeah, y'all have a good day. Like, what?
Have at it. Well, how about, I don't think we've talked enough about the Fontana half mile. Like, hey, this 2 mile track ain't too bad. Let's cut it into a quarter. Like, this is, it's bonkers, and it's happening, you know? Like, that's.
Well, not only that, but it's like, I mean, it's basically, it's Martinsville with a curved front stretch is what it amounts to. Because they're going to leave the front stretch the same. It's the same reason why I said I think it's going to be hard for Atlanta to change the quad oval configuration is, you know, the stands are built around that oval shape that Fontana already has. So they're going to leave that there, and then basically going to shrink the property by about half because they're going to sell it all, and they're going to use that money to pay for all the things they're going to do extra.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Martinsville on the West Coast is what it amounts to, and that's going to be neat.
Well, that's a good point.
I don't think we're going to be able to do Infineon. Sorry, Matt Weaver. I like the idea. It's good in theory. But the problem is there's only 2 months in Vallejo, California when it rains, and that's March and April. That's it. Mm-hmm. Doesn't rain any other time of year.
And
Does it look beautiful? Yes. Does it rain? Yes.
And you brought up a good point that I had not thought about, but I'm sure plenty of people have said. But, I mean, where are the short tracks out on the West Coast? You know, we got, like, Phoenix, kind of, and that's about it right now. So
yeah, and then people will take you to task all day long about that. Well, that's not a short track. It's a mile. You know, I mean, 150 miles an hour. That's not a short track. You know, they grumble. And, you know, like, okay, well, all things considered, what our norm is for the Cup Series is, you know, 22 races at 1.5-mile tracks. So if you race at a 1 mile track, that, I mean, you pretty much need to call that a short track.
Right.
Really.
Well, probably thinking about it, from the Mississippi River to the west, I bet our current average track length is over 1.5 miles, or maybe over 1.6, you know?
Yeah, it easily could be. Yeah, definitely west of the Mississippi. So you got Texas, and you got Phoenix, but then you got California, Fontana, Vegas,
Sonoma.
Sonoma's 2.4 miles. So yeah. I mean, I think you're right. You're probably closer to 2 miles than you are to 1.5.
So he left this very short, Weaver's article here, but race number 13, Dover, but paved with asphalt rather than concrete. What do you think about that?
Not happening.
What if?
I mean, it could be, but the reason why they pulled up the asphalt and put the concrete down is because the cars started making so much downforce, they started tearing up the asphalt during the race. Mm-hmm. So, okay. How do you want to fix that, Weaver?
How about this one? Race number 19, Knoxville. Already, he says, the most Cup Series ready venue in dirt racing. They seat 25,000 for the Knoxville National Sprint Car Race. A lot of luxury suites. Numbers probably good for modern Cup race. Could be extended over 30,000 with temporary seats. I think that's, and it's a dirt track. So, we want to race on dirt. There you go.
Yeah, and the thing about Knoxville is it's very similar to Bristol in terms of banking too, but it is dirt all the way through and throughout. Mm-hmm. So it's not a bad choice. I don't believe I would have a hard time believing that they would abandon the idea of running dirt at Bristol, just because when all things get back to normality, that spring race at Bristol does have a chance to sell 120, 130,000 tickets.
One thing I was thinking about is if we're tent camping at Bristol for a dirt race, we definitely need to find a solid shower arrangement.
Yes, yes, we do. Well, and the thing is, okay, so now that we got, and I know Evan's been lurking in the old YouTube over there, we have an opportunity to be not in a tent if we can drag Evan with us because he can pull his bumper pull, and if we sign ourselves up for a full hookup, he does have a shower that I think he can tell us if he does or not, but I believe he does.
Well, sir, that sounds like a solid a solid opportunity for all of us. Maybe we see what Julie Bosley's up to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, what you got going on? as we towed our our little pop up into the $1 million camper area.
That was hilarious.
I love it.
And had our backing up exercise after you, like a glove, put it in your carport, and then we couldn't back it into a space big enough to park a trailer full of elephants.
He's got now. Now I think this is a Weaver special here, being a Cubs fan and all that. He says Chicago street course. Now I know we're talking 5 years from now. And maybe, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I guess if the fairgrounds in Nashville gets revived the way it appears it's going to be revived, I mean, Marcus is committed to it. Maybe the street course thingy in downtown Nashville migrates its way to somewhere else. Chicago Street, I don't know, Belle Isle, St. Pete, which is half of that's on an airport. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would probably be in their best interest if they paired up with Indy and had a doubleheader weekend with Indy in order to get some of that crossover with the street course thing. Because street courses are, I mean, they're a little different. It's we never done it with NASCAR. Not to mean we can't. It's just it's going to be interesting when 4 or 5 cars barrel down into a turn and they all hit one of those barricades at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I thought this was interesting
because that's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. So this was interesting. Talking about playoffs in terms of what 2026 could look like. Weaver says Fontana, back to Fontana for the half mile. He says there's no way NASCAR will spend all the money it's going to take to revitalize Auto Club and not give it 2 dates. So I think that's a fair point.
So who are they going to take it from? Is the that's how you reverse problem solve.
Right.
Is who loses a race, because it's going to have to be, I don't know who it would be. I mean, they've already stolen Chicago. That was a NASCAR track. Michigan, they only have the 1 date now.
I think Kentucky
was an SMI track, but they already took that date from them.
Yep. So
I mean, it's going to be interesting to figure out where they're going to take dates from, and if they're going to do it on a rotating schedule.
That's the other question.
Do we wander around a little bit? I mean, Phoenix obviously is a NASCAR track. That's not an SMI track, but that's also the finale. I can't imagine they're not going to hold 2 events there every year, just a spring to get everybody excited about the finale kind of thing. Are they going to move the finale?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about how it might be interesting for them to move that around. They've given Homestead a different date, but it still only has the 1, so you can't really take that away. They're not going to take away from Daytona. Now there's that road course race that they probably can redistribute.
Yeah, probably maybe a couple though, like the Indy one. I don't know if he's got Indy on the schedule actually. I don't see Brickyard on here. Interesting. So that's one spot.
Yeah, well, the Brickyard's not on this schedule either for this year because it's the road course
Oh no,
race.
it is there. Sorry, I messed up. It is there. But anyway, then Bristol Night Race. Still talking about playoffs. Charlotte Roval. I thought this was interesting, and this is what bodes well for Atlanta. And he makes a good point here. He said Kansas in the playoffs, and you might think, Kansas kind of a, not like a premier or whatever you want to call it track, but he says Kansas is a playoff mainstay by this point due to the Hollywood casinos on site, and so that's a fair point.
Yeah, because it's attractive for people to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's lots of other stuff to do besides just go to the race.
Mm-hmm. That's why we need
So
our roller coasters. Whether they put a casino in Atlanta or not, I need to see those roller coasters. I am in on riding roller coasters at 11 o'clock p.m. on a Friday night.
Well, and I mean, to your point that you mentioned earlier is that, if you turn Atlanta Motor Speedway into a destination as opposed to just a place where a racetrack exists,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to change the game significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And we already know that Atlanta was within a hair of passing Hard Rock building a casino downtown, in Old Midtown.
Yeah.
Up whatever we call that part of town, downtown Atlanta, where Planet Hollywood and Hooters and all that stuff is, Meekums and stuff down there. Basically a little 5 point, not little five, but 5 points.
Yeah. 5 points proper. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got Nashville in there. That's interesting. Talladega, Texas, Phoenix, Martinsville, and Homestead. Back to Homestead. And he called it NASCAR's best intermediate track and the perfect location for championship race. I can't disagree in that, but I don't think I hate Phoenix for that either. So, but
I think we stand a lot better opportunity to not have a weather issue in Phoenix in November than we do in Homestead.
Yeah, hard to say. I mean, it's South Florida versus the desert. So there's to your point, though, how many places can you go to? Because at that point, places like Chicagoland, which, I mean, obviously we're not at, but Chicago's, posting Instagram pictures of snow that's 3 feet deep on a track.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we can't, even Atlanta, it used to be called Atlanta International Raceway when it was its own thing before SMI bought it, but its nickname was Atlanta International Rainway.
Right.
When it was the last race of the year for, better part of a decade and a half.
Mm-hmm. So that is the schedule that Weaver put together. And regardless, if we can get 1/4 of what is in there in terms of either changes or trying something different, or some of these tracks like Atlanta, come on, we're homers, to do something like that. It sounds like we're in a good position. I'm digging it.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I probably need to defer to Weaver more often because he's a pure racer guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I would rather him put together a schedule than me at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sir, let's move on then. Second period, did you see the Carl Edwards deal this week?
I knew he was on there. I tried to watch it, and I got distracted, and I never got around to it.
It's cool. Well, it can be summed up with this. They're like, what you been up to? He's like, well, I sailed the oceans. Like, he went sailing, evidently, and just went around, like I said, just sailing. I thought it was funny. They actually nicknamed him Buckets because he was just on the side of the boat for the first half of the whole thing, just puking buckets. So they called him Buckets. But, this is another one. We've talked about it a million times at this point, but, like, Carl Edwards is living the life that if I had the money that he has today, that's the life I would be living, right? That's what I'm trying to get to with retirement and whatever else that I'm trying to do. It's like, he was able to fast track that by going to NASCAR. So I got to respect the fact, I'd love to see him race again. He's such a good racer and all that stuff. But, he did what we all say we would do if we had that kind of money. It's like, hey, I got my bills. I'm gonna go sail all the oceans for the next 8 months. Good for you.
Yeah, I don't blame him a bit. I need to go back and watch that. I'm sure I can get it on YouTube or on demand or something because I did want to see it. I got distracted by other stuff and just didn't ended up watching it.
Yeah, yeah. So good on Carl, old cousin Carl, for doing that deal. How about this one? Did you see they tested the rain tires at Martinsville? So
I did.
It was a nice
I did.
day.
I saw that Larson had good things to say about it. My only comment on this would be we need to see more cars, and we need to understand what the difference between racing in the rain is and racing on a wet surface.
Right. Because it was a nice day, y'all, and they just hosed it down and put some rain tires on. Let's see what happens. So, yeah, I totally agree on that. Also, I'm just kind of opening up the conversation here in terms of what do we think of NASCAR in the rain, Sherwin?
I don't think they're prepared infrastructure-wise on the car itself to actually race in the rain. We saw some really weird stuff in Montreal. It's been a long time now. It's probably been 06. And they were just like, yeah, we can't see anything. I don't know what we're doing here. This is weird. Because that windshield wiper, while it looks like it might be functional, it is not.
Right. Put some Rain-X on that thing, but, they've got the tear-offs and all that stuff. There's, like you said, infrastructure. There's a whole lot to try to figure out with that. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm still like, I'm glad they're testing. I'm glad they're trying some stuff. Let's not be like, all right, we have this thing figured out. Let's do it. Like, I'm not ready for that. You know what I mean?
I don't think, I really don't. I mean, it's great that they did a test run to see what happens to these tires. But the reality is we're not going to be able to race while it's raining, which means at some point during the run with 40 cars out there and all the heat that they put down and all the water they're going to move with the tires, it's going to dry out pretty quick, which means they're going to end up turning laps on those tires that when most of the track is dry. And what happens then?
Yeah. Well, they'll throw, competition cautions and blah, blah, blah. I think, what it really is, they almost have to change the rules up mid-race. They have to decide, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And that's something I don't think has been too popular among fans, like I want to know what I'm going to get when I get there.
Yeah, well, they did that during the dirt race. They made a good decision about the single file restarts, but it still was not necessarily met with a, resounding enthusiasm. I thought it was a great decision, but a lot of people were like, you can't just change the rules during the race. This is like the highest level of this thing that we're doing. And I'm like, okay, I can see that argument to some degree.
Right. Next on the list, how about Howie DiSavino III making his truck's debut at Richmond, and he has 7 starts in ARCA, and I only mention it because it's for Jordan Anderson Racing. And how about Jordan Anderson seemingly really putting together a team here in a way? I mean, I know they're sharing the truck and whatnot, but like he's kind of become sort of developmental and working people through. Like, how long ago was it that he's selling spots on his truck for a few $100, and now it's like he has a whole race team. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for him. Hey, do whatever it takes to make your team what you need it to be, so that you can do the racing that you want to do. He's been doing this, I guess, probably 2 or 3 years now, where he'll put somebody in and he's like, "Yep, I'm just not all that great at this particular racetrack, but I think I got somebody who is, and maybe they can finish high enough in the order where we make the kind of money we need to continue to pay for the development that we need to make this a better team."
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I thought that was just a cool. Again, I don't know who Howie DiSavino III really is, and it's cool that he has this opportunity. But with Jordan Anderson's truck, I thought it was really neat that he's doing that. So, And last thing on the main show here, LeBron apparently has a stake in Fenway Sports Group, which, if you know the name Fenway, you know Roush Fenway Motorsports. So technically, LeBron has a stake now in NASCAR. So probably nothing interesting, today to talk about or anything. Like, he's not just jumping in like Michael Jordan is. But I really love the idea of folks from different sports arenas coming into NASCAR and talking about that. So we'll see, if he's involved at all. But I like it.
I think it's great. I saw that too, and I was like, cool. Yeah, more crossover.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And say what you want about LeBron. Back. I mean, this had to be what, 10, 12 years ago when he did the whole, like, I'm taking my talents to Miami or whatever, and it was like, oh, you stuck up, blah, 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 blah. But, he is like the model citizen, perfect person, everything. He, everything he does off the court is for good. He's nothing but good. So it's like, well, dadgummit, all right, he's a good guy, and he's really, really good at basketball, and he knows it. So, fair play.
Yeah, I'm. That's you, LeBron and Michael Jordan in NASCAR. Yes.
There's goosebumps right there. Just
let's have that. Let's have some of that.
Right. Take me a sip of Dos Equis lager, as it turns out. So, but let's keep rolling here. How about a few folks, Bubba and Suarez. So Bubba was I believe in the top 10 for at least the first few stages of Bristol, but then had Bristol Dirt, that is, then had a tire issue, but showed a lot of promise there. And of course, Suarez finished 4th, I believe. So some pretty big momentum coming out of Bristol. And I would say, I think both the momentum is there, but also the pressure. Like, these two things are meeting right now, and I feel like one or the other is going to bust that bubble, and maybe one doesn't coming up soon. So we'll see what happens there. What do you think?
Well, it certainly was refreshing to see both of them running so well, for most of the race. Suarez, winning stages or winning a stage, I think, and leading laps. That was neat, especially considering all they could talk about is how he didn't have any dirt experience, but all of a sudden he's running up there, and it's like, well, this is pretty cool. He certainly got his team and his sponsor a lot of airtime, albeit through the dust.
Yeah. Bob Pockers reported that COTA is adding turtles to the raceway. These are like sideways speed bumps, so it's like a speed bump, but it's parallel to the cars or whatever. So as to quote unquote encourage drivers to drive the course. I thought that was an interesting way to put it. That we'd rather you not take the shortcut through Rainbow Road and the Choco Taverns or Caverns or whatever it's called, like going Mario Kart here. Like, we don't want you doing that, so we're going to add this horrific speed bump that makes it very jarring to do so.
Yeah. And we've seen with the newest version of what the NASCAR turtles are at Charlotte.
Yeah.
That if you run your whole car over those things, you can damn near rip the undercarriage out of those things. Like, it's bad.
Yeah. I thought that was I had not heard turtles before, and I was like, they're adding turtles to the track? That seems like a not a good idea. We're going to run over the turtles. We got to save the turtles, everybody. But, okay, all right, I get it.
That was a term that popped up, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago. People started calling them that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm only assuming they started doing that because cars were running over them and ripping stuff off of the bottom of the car.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh, yeah, this is like hitting a turtle with a passenger car. It's problematic.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I don't know if I've told this publicly ever, but when we were in Portland, Oregon, between there and Seattle, and it's a great drive and whatnot, But I was driving at night. I knew somebody from Portland. We went over to their house, had an excellent dinner, and met his family and all this stuff, and played on his drums. And I mean, it was just a fun, wild, weird night, just meeting up with somebody while we were out there. But on the way back, it was night, and dude, I hit. I hate to say this, I hit a family of raccoons. Like,
oh shit!
Like a family, the entire family, all of them. And I mean, it was like dunk, 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 like you're dragging one, right? And you're like, oh God, please release, dunk, 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 and then back to smooth. And now, of course, I'm in a rental, and I look over at my wife, and she looks back at me. I'm like, I'm just going. She's like, just go. So I don't know what to say. I have ruined a family of raccoons up in Portland, Oregon, and to those raccoons to this day, I apologize and I feel bad, but yeah, what can I say?
Yeah. I can remember hitting one in high school. I didn't hit it. I was riding shotgun. My buddy hit it. We were leaving school. I'm sure we were headed to go get in some mischief. And he hit that thing just wide open.
Oh my God.
And we felt it like hit the engine and then hit like the rear axle. And it was like, yeah, I don't think it's going to make it.
Right.
We look in the rearview mirror and it's like kicking around. We're like, yeah, just go.
No, just
go.
Just bail. Yeah. Oh, well. We'll try to get past some memories here. I saw that Pocono Raceway is releasing a beer, and I was like, ooh! And then I saw what it was, and I'm like, oh, don't know about that. But I'll try it. I'm up for trying whatever. But it's a collab with Downriver Brewing. It's called Wheat Turn 4, and it's a mango Hefeweizen. I can't even say the word, but mango Hefeweizen. And I'm like, oh, fruity beer plus Hefeweizen. Hefeweizen to me, y'all, I don't know why, but that thing, if you get the wrong one, it just stinks to me. like not like that driver stinks. No, I mean like poop stink. Like it smells bad.
It's weird. They're yeasty.
Yeah. So I'll give it a try. I'll try it, but here's what it is. Did you see the? Yeah.
I mean, good on them for getting involved with some kind of beer thing. That's cool. But how about something different than that?
Right. Did you see Chase his throwback scheme for this year?
Hell yeah, I saw it.
Alan Kulwicki Darlington throwback scheme, the 1992 Hooters car, looks pretty sweet.
Complete with brown number.
Brown.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. Yeah, no, it looks great. It looks exactly like Kulwicki's car. Obviously the car's a different, model, upgraded, but it's the same exact paint scheme.
Yeah. It's that is an early entry into the Darlington throwback schemes, and I'm sure I will forget that we talked about this, and then once we get to Darlington, I'll be talking about it again. So, y'all pin this conversation because I'm sure it'll happen again. But anyway, that's an early entry into the throwback schemes, I feel like.
It's first one that I know of that's been released.
Mm-hmm. Did they
At
announce
least from
a theme
one
yet?
of the big boys?
Or are they doing a theme this year?
No, it's just you're obligated to do a throwback.
Yeah.
There's no year requirement.
So wide open.
Or suggestion, as it has been in the past.
Yeah.
But it's in May.
Yeah.
It's not for the September race. It's in May.
Well, we one thing that I thought was interesting, going back to going to more. I would love to hear Brent. Like I want to hear Brent on like at least one topic every week, and this one is interesting because NASCAR has really done a shakeup in their leadership, especially around like the marketing, strategic development. Those are like the big ones that have moved around. And then the cascading effects was down to like operations and racing development, but they moved a lot of people up. I would sit here and name names, but I don't really know any of these people anyway, so it doesn't make sense. But the titles are interesting to me, how they're really focusing on marketing and strategic development stuff, and then backfilling for the operational stuff and the racing development. Like those were kind of the okay, well, we're moving these people into these positions, so we got to we got to move somebody up into these others. But like I said, the focus being on marketing and strategic development, I think that's a good call for where we are today and what's needed today. So interested in what you think.
I didn't see any of that happen, but it's not because I deliberately ignored it. It's because I just haven't had the time to pay attention. But, shaking up leadership is something that happens a lot in corporate cultures, and getting a new set of eyes on the same set of data often leads to different decisions. And if NASCAR thinks this is what they need to get a little bit more creative, then more power to them.
Yeah. So, it's like I said, interesting developments there. And again, somebody who has more of that business context of what we should focus on. What NASCAR is saying here is we want to focus on the marketing and we want to focus on the strategic development and we want to backfill for the racing stuff and the operational stuff. That's I guess a different viewpoint than what we've seen in the past. So it's interesting.
Yeah, well, it definitely bucks that whole, or follows that whole. If you keep doing the same thing and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, sir, it's time to gas it up. Here we go. All right, sir, Martinsville. We kind of, last week, sort of, whatever you want to call it, all the analogies I can think of are not PG, but we previewed ahead of time the fact that we're going to Martinsville this weekend. So a little week off. Everybody enjoy Easter. Have your deviled eggs that have to have ham with them, that have to have cornbread, that have to have collard greens, and then off to Martinsville this week. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know how much of it I'll get to watch, but it's Saturday night under the lights. So that's interesting. We got Xfinity racing too, so that's fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Martinsville is Martinsville. It's one of the coolest places that we go to. Like it's hard to even. I don't know what words to use. Martinsville is so freaking cool. If you haven't been, go. Trust me, just go. It's one of the coolest places ever.
I know we've said it before on the podcast, but it is such a centralized place for it's almost like this is where the North and the South come to meet. And the fact that, I drove up from Atlanta, but I had stopped off where you were living at the time. And so it didn't feel like it was a ton of driving or whatever. And it was like an hour and a half north of where you lived. And so we went there the next day and stayed the whole weekend. We were at the campground and we met these folks, and I mean, total rednecks, totally cool folks, but they were from like mid Pennsylvania, right? Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh wow, y'all are from like the north, as far as we were concerned. Like Pennsylvania, how far is that? They're like, that's about 6 hours. I'm like, I drove more than that to get here. So
right,
cool.
Yeah. Next time I'll pick a different weekend to go to New Orleans. And Evan, we'll go to Martinsville in the fall, buddy.
There you go. Gotta get this stuff going. What did Roger say? Took us 10 hours to drive from the Albany, New York area. So there you go. Yeah. Anyway, I believe, Sherwin, it is time for picks for Martinsville. And let's see. 2 weeks ago, Brent picked Christopher Bell, who finished 34th. So there was no fix in that in that situation. Like the former NASCAR president picks the guy who finished almost DFL. So is what it is. I picked Larson, who finished 29th. So dirt course ringer, completely ate it. And Sherwin, you picked Brad, who finished 11th. So congrats to Sherwin on the W, at least across the three of us. So it's time for picks for Martinsville. Sherwin, I'm gonna cheat, kind of. Like
okay.
I continue every week. This is like you're gonna be down in New Orleans here soon, and they've got the Harrah's Casino, and you probably walk into there at some point.
I
right?
can place a bet,
and you can place a bet. but then you lose, and then you're like, well, now I gotta do the $2 on the next one. Now I got to do $4 on the next one. Now I got to do $8 on that. Whatever they call that, the Mockingbird, Mockingbird. I can't remember. Somebody will correct me at some point. I don't care. But it's the technique where you keep doubling your bet. The problem is that they have a limit, so once you hit like $1,000, you can never make it back. But anyway, I feel like I continue to say that I need to make up some room. And then I keep not making up room, and so it is what it is. Anyway, Sherwin, with all that, the reason I'm saying all that, I'm picking Joey Logano for the double. He has success
butthole
at Martinsville, and so Joey doubling down on the half-mile tracks here. So that's where I'm going. Sherwin, you're up.
Blaney
just throws it out there. I love that pick. I love that pick for a lot of reasons, but I don't know. I was going to say more than anything, blah, 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 but there's a lot of things going on there. I don't know what else to say. You tell me. Why Blaney?
He actually is pretty good on short tracks, and Penske seems to be ahead of the game except for Hendrick, and I assume that everybody that listens to this would just call me some kind of homer if I pick Chase. So I'm picking Blaney.
There you go. Yeah, Blaney. So interestingly, both of us picked somebody who has a win. And of course, right now, the entire field has won at least, there's nobody with more than one win. So both of us looking for the double.
Yep.
Well, there it is.
Yep.
Ladies and
that means Harvick's probably going to win.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that too. I got no issues. I'm happy. Sherwin, we have somehow filled up an hour with me and you just BSing about telephones and everything else. It's been an absolute blast. Can't wait to talk next week. We've got a fantastic guest lined up for then, and excited to do it. So why don't you start closing us out, sir?
Oh, yeah. So next week's guest is, let me look at his name real quick so I get it right. Jeremy Korst. He's a friend of Brent Doer's. He's a technologist, big time in the technology community. That's fun. You can find us at PETM Podcast on Twitter, at PETM Podcast on Instagram. You can find me at Pregame Engineer on on Twitter, and at Andrew L. Sherwin on Instagram. And take it away, Rusty.
Well, he said it. PTMPodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on Twitter. As always, I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace, at Tailgate Mayor on Twitter. Can't wait to talk to him next week. We're Sherwin, you might got to watch out because we might start nerding out if he's in the tech industry and everything. But looking forward to that discussion. It's going to be a blast, and we'll be talking about Martinsville and talking about Joey Logano's win there, evidently. So we will.
I like it.
We will talk to y'all next week. See ya. And that's a wrap. There we go. You know what? I don't know if Brandon will be listening in at this point, but I always do feel a little bit self-conscious because I usually just say, see ya, as kind of my go. I know he does his see ya at the end, but
yep.
I don't have that same part of it. So I'm just like, see you later. But I'm like, am I? I hope Brandon doesn't think I'm stealing his thing. I just really meant see you later.
I understand.
So, Brandon, no offense.
I don't think he'll take it.
That's good to know. Let's see. All right, get this thing saved down. I've done all the editing, everybody.
Woo!
Track title.
That is the beauty of recording live, is we do not edit. Doesn't happen.
Boom, boom. Yeah.
Evan keeps asking, Rusty, you ready to roll out?
I love it. There's I absolutely love the social pressure stuff. I totally dig that stuff. So thank you, Evan. July 11th is actually my birthday week, and so I'm not going to be able to make Atlanta during that time this year. I need to carve out space. That's the thing with this whole COVID deal, is like you just start planning stuff out because you're like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do anything that I normally want to do. So I'm just going to plan all this other stuff that's just like me and the wife or whatever else. Excuse me. And so now that there's, again, there's kind of this light at the end of the tunnel. You're like, oh crap, what's all the stuff that I need to actually, do like for real, And so unfortunately, Atlanta's summer race is something I'm going to have to miss. Being close to it, it hurts me, but we'll pick it up again next year.
Yep. No worries. I got it, buddy.
All right, man. You getting called on?
No. Well, yeah, but not on the phone.
10-4. Well, enjoy. It has been a pleasure as always. I'm going to shut down the YouTube stream. Everybody, it's been awesome talking, and next week's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
See you,
It'll be
YouTubers.
interesting, that's for sure.